Emily had always been a caring and responsible daughter-in-law, or at least she tried to be. Married to Ryan, the youngest son in a well-respected family, she knew that gaining the trust of her in-laws, especially her husband's father, Mr. William, was important. However, financial stress had started building up in her life. Ryan was struggling to make ends meet with his job, and the couple's savings were running low faster than they anticipated. Emily, though fully aware of the consequences, found herself caught in a moment of weakness when she stumbled upon Mr. Williams' ATM card lying on the dining table one afternoon. For a few days, the card had been right in front of her every time she visited her in-laws' house. At first, she ignored it, but as the pressure of overdue bills and rising debt weighed on her mind, an impulsive idea crossed her thoughts. What if she could just borrow a little, pay off some bills, and return the money later when they got back on their feet? No one would notice, right? This fleeting justification began to eat away at her conscience, but she silenced the voice in her head, convincing herself that it was a temporary solution. One evening, after a particularly tense argument with Ryan about their financial situation, Emily made the rash decision to take the card. She slipped it into her purse when no one was looking, her heart pounding as she did so. For the next few days, guilt gnawed at her, but desperation kept her moving forward. She withdrew a significant amount from Mr. Williams' account, hoping it would buy them some time to figure things out. Emily tried to act normal whenever she visited her in-laws, but deep down, the guilt was unbearable. She couldn't shake the fear of getting caught, and every time she saw Mr. William, her anxiety would spike. Days turned into weeks, and she still hadn't managed to repay the amount she had taken. The plan was slipping out of control, and the pressure of keeping the secret was breaking her. Then, the inevitable happened. Mr. William noticed some unusual withdrawals from his bank account and immediately raised concerns with the family. At first, no one suspected Emily. After all, she had always been seen as trustworthy and kind. But as the family gathered to discuss the missing money, she could feel the walls closing in on her. The guilt was suffocating, and Emily knew she couldn't keep the secret any longer. One night, after everyone had gone to bed, she approached Ryan and confessed everything. Ryan was in disbelief, unable to comprehend how the woman he loved and trusted could do something like this. He was torn between defending his wife and feeling betrayed himself. When he confronted her about why she hadn't come to him for help instead of stealing from his father, Emily broke down in tears, explaining the overwhelming pressure and shame she had felt. She hadn't meant for it to go this far. She had planned to return the money, but things spiraled out of control. The next morning, Ryan reluctantly told his family the truth. As expected, the entire family was furious. Mr. William, who had always been kind and supportive to Emily, was heartbroken. He couldn't believe that she had stolen from him, and the trust he had placed in her shattered in an instant. Ryan's mother, Mrs. Elizabeth, who had always had a soft spot for Emily, felt deeply betrayed. The once warm and welcoming atmosphere in the family turned cold. Ryan's older siblings, Mark and Sarah, were particularly vocal in their anger, accusing Emily of being dishonest and manipulative. They couldn't understand why she hadn't come forward sooner or why she had done such a thing in the first place. The family's judgment was harsh, and Emily felt like an outsider, completely alienated from the people she had once considered her own. In a desperate attempt to make things right, Emily returned the ATM card and apologized profusely to Mr. William and the rest of the family. She offered to repay the money she had taken, though it would take time. However, the damage had already been done. Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild. No matter how much Emily apologized, the family couldn't look at her the same way. Ryan was caught in the middle, torn between his loyalty to his wife and his responsibility to his family. He supported Emily in front of his parents, but couldn't hide his own feelings of betrayal when they were alone. Their marriage, already strained by financial struggles, was now hanging by a thread. Emily tried her best to regain the family's trust. She offered to take on more household responsibilities, helped out in every way she could, and remained humble in her efforts to show that she was genuinely sorry. But the tension in the family remained thick. Conversations were brief and cold, and family gatherings became uncomfortable. Emily felt the weight of her mistake every single day. The once lively and joyous moments she shared with Ryan's family were now replaced with awkward silences and strained interactions. It seemed that no matter what she did, she couldn't escape the shadow of her past mistake. Ryan, although still supportive in public, was growing distant, and Emily could feel their relationship slipping away. Months passed, and while the family eventually accepted her presence again, things were never quite the same. Emily learned a painful lesson about the consequences of her actions and the long road it would take to truly make amends. Every time she visited her in-laws, she felt the lingering disappointment in their eyes, a constant reminder of the mistake she had made. Though she had returned the money and apologized, the emotional cost of her actions was far greater than she had anticipated. Emily and Ryan continued to work on their relationship, but the damage to their trust and the family bond was something that would take years, if not a lifetime, to fully heal. In the end, Emily's story was a sobering reminder of how a single moment of weakness can lead to a cascade of consequences, affecting not just one person, but an entire family. She had acted out of desperation, but the price she paid was far greater than she had imagined.